We have now 41 attendees in the room. Thank you for joining us for the first ever talking books organized by Candid Creation Publishing. Thank you for joining us, and it's a long weekend. Okay, we shall be starting very soon. Let's take a look at the poll. 71% of you are feeling happy right now. That's really great. Coupled with another 25% that are feeling relaxed. All right. 25% are tired. I know it's a long day, isn't it? With too much Zoom. I guess this is another Zoom to your long list. But rest assured, we'll be here to share, and you don't have to do anything actually. So just be relaxed. I don't know about the 6 authors though. When was the last time you read a book? Awesome. Most of you today, less than a week, less than a month. All right. 25% can't remember. It's time to pick up a book. Wow. Now Andy is leading the pack with which book have you read before? Andy is now, wow, 1/3 of the room have read your book. Win Big, Lose Small. Andy, well done, man. Okay, the time now is 8:04. We shall start. First and foremost, can I invite all our 6 authors to unmute yourself and just to say hello to our participants? There are 51 of them right now. Unmute yourself, please.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Great to be together.
Good to see you.
Great. Okay, I'm going to stop my share screen. My apologies. Yeah. So first, I'll run through the agenda for this evening. Yep. We shall start with a very short welcome, and then we shall move into the individual sharing by each of the author. Each of them is going to read a passage from their own book, and following that, they'll be sharing with you 3 practical learning points that you can walk away this evening. Okay, and finally, we will do the closing. All right. So first and foremost, a big welcome to all of you. We have 53 attendees in the Zoom room right now. Thank you for investing your evening with us. This is our first ever talking books. It's a big experiment, most of you would know, so thank you for your support. And I'm so glad that I'm doing a webinar and not a seminar. You know, it was raining cats and dogs, right? If it's a seminar, it's going to be an empty room. All right, I won't see all 53 of you. So I'm so glad that this is a webinar. And I really need to thank all the 6 authors who step up and invest their time to share their knowledge and expertise with you. This evening definitely couldn't be possible without them. All right, so we shall start, and I'm going to do a share screen. So what we're going to do is I will introduce each author first before I will hand the time to them for them to do their reading. Okay, and then hello Shannon. Okay, yep, so that was the agenda I mentioned earlier. So just bear in mind, we will open up the session for question and answer only at the end of the all the 6 authors sharing. So and you can do that at the end when there is if you look at the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A button. If you click on that, you will open up the Q&A box. So that's the place where you can post your question. Please do not post your question in the chat box, okay? Because we will not be monitoring that. All right, so this webinar is slightly different from meeting. There's a Q&A button that you can click. So we'll have all the Q&A at the end of this evening. Okay, first author to share is none other than Andrew Chow. So Andrew is the author of 3 books. All right, he's the only person who has a box set this evening, and he has written the book Social Media 247, Public Relations 247, Personal Branding 247. Key personal influence, and he is one of the very few certified speaking professionals in Singapore, and he does consultancy in the area of digital marketing, personal branding, public relations as well. Andrew is a very close buddy of mine. We've been working together for a very long time. From the time I first published his book, he has been supporting me all this while. including being my co-facilitator for the So You Want to Be an Author workshop. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to stop share. Then I'll hand the time to Andrew so that he will do a reading of his passage. And then we'll come back to the screen on the 3 learning points. Andrew, over to you.
Okay, welcome everyone. So I just want to do a sound check. Is everyone hearing me okay? If it is okay, just say yes. Yeah,
Yes.
just say yes and type it out on the chat. All right. Okay. So maybe I'd like to invite the panelists to unmute yourself. Okay. So I'm going to read chapter 4 of my book, Personal Branding 247. And the title of that chapter is What Are My Vision, Mission, and Values in Life? So I'm going to read just 2 parts and I will go into some learning points. So here goes. Well, this is the first time I read in the open, you know. All right. So chapter 4, what are my vision, mission, and values in life? Be clear of what you see and know and how to get there. Because it is pointless to have great vision and mission in life if you do not know the right values to bring you there. We are all born leaders. We are leaders of our life, our thoughts, and our emotions, plus actions. We are leaders when we map out our vision and mission. We are followers of our vision and mission by demonstrating certain key values in life. So, what exactly is our vision? Your vision is the picture you envision in your mind. It is the state you wish to be in, but not a place you wish to go to. Your vision is not an action. Your vision is a conviction. It is a joy you wanted to have long ago, and you know there are a lot of work to do before you can attain it. The work that is needed to be done to arrive at your vision now becomes your mission in life. Some of the questions you may ask yourself to determine your visions are: what do you see in yourself in 5 years' time? What do you see in 20 years? Where do you wish to see your life going? In reality, no one can predict for sure what is in the future, considering the speed of technological advance and the evolvement of business model. Therefore, you need to practice the art of developing a progressive vision. See as you move along, ask yourself more questions as you cross a new year. So, what is a mission? A mission statement is not a motivational piece. It is a journey, not a destination. Your mission is a single action or process of follow-up actions to fulfill your vision. It can be changed from time to time depending on the relevancy and the urgency in your life. It can be broken out incrementally and should be decided only by yourself. Your mission is critical in making your vision a reality. This is the last part. Your success in achieving the vision through the mission is determined by the values you have deep within you. Your mission statement is your purpose. It states what you aspire to do and the reason why you are doing it. It requires commitment and consistency and therefore a lot of hard work. Okay, so this is part of my chapter 4. I would like to Phoon Kok Hwa to bring up the slides of the learning point. And I just want to share a little bit about this book in general. Next one. Okay. So my book has 3 parts. The first part has to do with internal. It's about a brand essence. So you got to know a lot of audit insight. The second part is really about how do you position yourself. And the last part is how do you communicate that part. So I have here a lot of key points, 9 of them actually. So the first part that we really need about personal branding is know who you are and what you stand for. You got to stand for something. You got to have a vision and a passion for something. And then you have to internalize why you want to be branded. You know, I always say that there is very little mileage if you work on your strength because you're already good in what you do. The mileage is very little. If you work on your weakness, your biggest weakness, you're going to be a very strong and balanced person. All right, Michael Jordan is almost like a perfect basketball player. He doesn't have any weakness because the minute when someone say he has a weakness, he work on it. So he was a shooter. He was a high scoring player, defensive player of the year. Anything you can think of, he has won it. But the second part is this: If you want to be positioned well enough, ask yourself, who are you serving and what can you do better than the rest to serve them? How do you want to be differentiated? And those are the key questions to ask. Last but not least, if you want to have a presence on social media, the most important thing to ask is, what is your persona? Are you a serious person, perfectionistic, adventurous, creative, analytical? What is it that you want to portray? And who are in your tribe? I have spoken before. All of us have our mentor, have our coaches, have our peers, have our advocates, and our fans. Do you have such people in your hierarchy? Last but not least, what are the different stages and platform can you use to gain more visibility? So maybe public speaking, maybe writing a book, maybe serving in charity, maybe appearing on media. There are so many things to consider. So in essence, branding is a lifestyle. Branding is not marketing. Branding is a overarching image you want to portray, from internalizing what you can offer to externalizing what you want to communicate. And that's all I have for you today. I wish that you take away some key points in the learning for personal branding. And I hand this time back to our moderator and publisher, Mr. Phoon Kok Hwa.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for your reading and your sharing. Yep, so personal branding really is inside out. And always remember what you say. If you don't build your brand, other people will build it for you. So which one do you prefer, right? So do spend some effort on your own personal branding. Essentially, it's not about yourself. It's how do you connect yourself to serve the community outside there. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the second author. Can anyone guess who is it? The answer is actually in the poster, the banner itself. Okay, so the next person is none other than Joanne. All right, so Joanne Lai is the author of Money Lessons from the Wild. So here's the book. Okay, 7 crucial keys to financial freedom at a young age. She is an advisory group partner at IPP Financial Advisors Private Limited. If you look at Joanne, I think she's probably the youngest among us. Yeah, but do not be fooled by her age. She has actually started her financial planning at the age of 14. Okay, and today she has helped many families and individuals find their financial freedom. Today, Joanne is also the top 1% financial planning professional. And guess what? It's not Singapore. It's the world. Top 1% in the world. All right. So today we are very privileged to have Joanne to read a passage from her book, Money Lessons from the Wild, before she shares with all of us the 3 key learning points. Okay, so Joanne, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Kok Hwa. Can all of you hear me? Just a sound check. If you can, please type a yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will be reading from my book, Money Lessons from the Wild, Lesson 2. It is on savings and compound interest. Okay, so it's a story. I'm so tired of hopping for 1 to 2 hours daily just to get my favorite apples, exclaimed Rani the rabbit. She always needed to find them in the jungle where they had fallen from the trees. One day, as she was munching on her favorite apples, she thought to herself, "How I wish I could move this apple tree to my house." Suddenly, an idea struck her, and she started wanting to grow her own apple tree. She brought the apple core home and removed the seeds from it. After that, she took out the apple seeds from in the core and looked for a piece of land nearby where she could plant her own apple tree. Carefully, she buried the seeds and ensured that she watered the plant daily and protected it from any other animals. She did not know how long it would take for the apple tree to grow, but she waited patiently. After 1 year, she became the proud owner of her own apple tree. The apples grew big and juicy under her care. Rani was amazed by the rate at which the apples grew. Her calculations revealed that the seed she has planted yielded an average of 30 apples a year from the tree. Rani had always wanted to share apples with her family and friends. As such, she decided to plant another tree so that she could have another 30 apples a year. To improve the yield, she provided the tree with fertilizer from Mr. Boo the Bull. This increased her yield to an average of 45 apples a year. This meant a 50% increase in the number of apples. Rani thought to herself, if she were to plant another apple tree, there will be another 30 apples. The percentage increase in apples would be 100%. Let's take a look at how Rani managed to grow the apples. By planting more trees, she gets another 30 more apples, and that means 100% increase. By adding more fertilizers, she has 50% increase, which is from 30 to 45. As Rani grew more and more apples, she managed to feed her whole family. She taught her grandchildren how to plant more apple trees and to work with Mr. Boom to build an apple empire. Rani's legacy lasted for many generations, and she taught many of the animals the virtue of hard work and also how to grow more assets. They lived happily ever after. Albert Einstein used to have this quote. It says that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Benjamin Franklin has something similar. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Compound interest is the addition of interest to the principal sum of a deposit. The simple way to look at it is interest on interest. For example, you get $100 from your parents during the Chinese New Year. Assuming the interest is 2%, the following shows how the interest is compounded every year. $100 times 2 divided by 100 is $2 interest. Second year, it will be 100 plus 2, $102. $102 multiplied by 2%, that will be $2.04 interest. And the third year, the same thing goes, $102 plus $2.04, it will be $104.04, and $104.04 multiplied by 2%, it will be $2.08 interest. And this will continue all the way until the nth year. In the same way that Rani saved some of her apples for her future and her family and friends, it is possible for you to make sure that you do not spend all your pocket money. You can save some of your pocket money and look for a financial institution which can pay you a higher interest so that you can gain more savings for yourself. If you were to save money in a tin can, your interest rate is 0% per annum. If you were to save money in a bank account which pays 1% interest, you will gain more money at the end of 1 year. Similarly, if you can get a higher interest, the amount that you will gain will become higher and higher. Some of you can consider saving $1 a day. If you are unable to save $1 a day, you can save 50 cents or 10 cents a day. Learn the principle of paying yourself first before you start spending. If you save at least 10% of your allowance, you will build a habit of saving. After you have this habit of saving, you can then look for opportunities to grow your money at an even higher interest rate. Just with $1 a day, this is what you can achieve in 20 years, assuming it's 365 days in a year. So if you were to save $1 at 10% per annum, that will be 20,900 compounded interest in 20 years. If you were to save 50 cents, then you would be able to have at 10%, $10,000 and $452. Okay, I'm done with my book for this chapter. So I will trouble Kok Hwa to help me with the 3 learning lessons. Hope you enjoyed the sharing just now. So there are 3 V's that we can learn from this. This is 3, 4, and 5. So the 3 would be values, valuables, and value. So many times, right, when parents leave behind valuables, like things like possessions, houses, items, they want to ensure that their children also learn the values behind it, and the values of sharing, the values of making sure that the people around them are also taken care of, and of course, value of money. Sometimes if kids are not aware of the value of money, they might inherit money, but they are unable to be able to manage the money from there on. Of course, number 2 lesson that you can learn from this is the 4 S's: save, spend, share, and then shares. Of course, save, you understand, when I was growing up, many times my mom told me, save your money. Yeah, then they also say spend wisely. Make sure that you share your money to donate to charity, to make sure that your family is also benefiting from it. And of course, shares. will be things like doing shares investments, or it could be doing other forms of investments with the S as the main thing. Okay. Of course, the third one would be 5 C's. In the past, we talked about 5 C's like car, condominium, and others. But in this case, the 5 C's is referring to capacity. That means spending within your means. And then character, which is values. Because if we earn money using the wrong means and with the wrong values, it will not only taint us, but it will also cause people to stumble. So the third C that we are talking about is contentment. There is always needs, there is always wants. If we all go for things that we want all the time, after a while you realize that there is no end to the number of wants that we have. And the fourth one would be consideration for others, making sure that while we are managing our money, we also consider other people in the process. And of course, the fifth C would be compounding interest. We need to ensure that while we are saving up money, our money is also compounding, and is compounding at a higher return compared to what we are putting in the bank. Thank you. I'll hand the time over back to Kok Hwa.
All right. Thank you, Joanne. Thanks for your reading, sharing with us the eighth wonder of the world. I think that's really important, the effect of compounding interest. And thanks for sharing your 3 learning points in such a succinct way, the 3 V's, the 4 S, and 5 C. I think that will really help all of you to remember. Okay, so next, we're going to move on to our next author. And he's none other than Dr. Douglas O'Loughlin. All right, Douglas is the author of Facilitating Transformation. You can see the screen right now. That's the book he has written. Chow Strategies for Creating Extraordinary Breakthroughs with Groups. He's an associate consultant with Civil Service College and also Hart Hill Consulting. I've known Douglas for a long time. Yep. In fact, I always consider him as my mentor. I don't know if he considered me as his mentee though. He was the one who was instrumental in encouraging me to step into the world of coaching as well as in facilitation, to actually serve in different capacity and to wear a different hat from being a publisher. And ever since then, I found that there was so much synergy between all these things that I do and to continue to serve others. All right, so I'm going to hand the time over to Douglas, who's going to do a reading for us from his book.
Thanks, Kok Hwa. And just to say that I was just pointing out the obvious, that you have such a gift in this area. Yeah. And Joanne, thanks for the 8th wonder of the world too. And I'm wondering in the Q&A later if you can share with us how do we talk to NParks, because I love the apple tree metaphor. So if you have any tips on how to connect with NParks about how we can do some guerrilla gardening or plant some trees around, that would be helpful. So hi everybody, nice to be with y'all on this Friday night. I'm going to read a section from the book, and it's Strategy 12, the last chapter in the book. And in organization development, the work I do, facilitation, we have lots of processes and lots of tools, but we also say that we are a tool. You know that you're with a group, you're also part of the process. So we often call it use of self. And it's a very meaningful piece, and I'm going to read to you, it's actually a poem. I know Chris is going to read a poem after this and read some poems. But this is a organization development poem by a professor, Dave Jameson, called You Are the Instrument. So I'm going to read it. It's a little bit long, but it's very meaningful. And maybe just notice what terms kind of jump off to you as you listen to it. So here we go. So you are the instrument. When all is said and done, you are the instrument. When the tools and techniques have run their course, you are still the conduit. When you engage with a system, half the coupling is you. When you respond to what's going on, yourself is involved. When others respond to what you are doing, it's never just what, but how. While it's important to know the theories and the methods, it's not enough. It's necessary, but not sufficient. What comes out through you, through your filters, your self-esteem, your fears, your skills, your needs, your personal turmoil, your presence. Such an important and difficult accountability we take on, to be in shape to do this work, to be the best we can be, to be tolerant of great variability. You are the instrument of change, and that means knowing who you are, how you touch people, your special qualities, what hooks you, how you communicate with others, your way of giving, what you bring, what brings out the worst in you, what you're working on personally, how you're influenced, when it's fun and when it's not, when you're on and when you're off, your need for structure and security, and your repetitive patterns. Being an instrument of change is exciting, challenging, scary, fulfilling, engaging, intense, and rewarding. And through our work, we help others and we grow ourselves, because it's through self-insight, feedback, stretching encounters, and humility that we really learn how the instrument works and how it can be developed and used to make beautiful music. So that's the instrument used for facilitation, I think, teaching, parenting, lots of different things. And we'll send you a soft copy of this poem afterwards. So I hope some of that resonated with you. Okay, and Kok Hwa, over to you for the 3 points. So, and then just to bring that down to be a little bit more practical, hopefully, well, maybe some of that was practical. So one is, in chapter 1, which is the right place to start, is to be intentional. I think it goes back to Andrew's thing about, branding is like know who we are. In this case, it's know what we want to do. So intentions for the outcomes, intentions for the experience, intentions for what do we want to learn. And we could do this every morning. We can say, what are our intentions for the day? What are we going to do? What kind of experience do we want it to be? What do we want to learn? I know a lot of leaders that are famous for starting every project or meeting with, what's our picture of success? What do we really want to do here, Or even emails. If you have some emails that are important, you might want to think, hey, when people receive this email, what do I want them to feel or do after this? So a lot of intentionality. And then ask ourselves, can we show up? I know sometimes, like my default is to be friendly, and I found that sometimes being too friendly doesn't really work. So sometimes I need to be a little bit more professional. And so you can think for yourself about how you show up. Maybe sometimes you ask different kinds of questions, or if you're used to going first when sharing, maybe save it last. So be intentional about how you show up based on the people that you're with. So being intentional is number 1. The second one, if I just shorten, is to be present. So really be present with ourselves and also be present with others, like tune in to what's happening. There's a nice acronym, I don't know, I know some people have found this quite useful. WIN, what is important now? So if you're with people, is it time for a break? Or you're at a meeting. Actually, a quick story, I was part of organizing a conference a couple months ago, and there's about 8 of us, 10 of us debriefing the conference, what worked, what didn't work, what could have been better. And one of the people in the meeting said, can we take a time out? I really sense that instead of talking about this, we should be talking about like, how are you all doing? You held a lot of stress and a lot of pressure for this. Can we go around and hear how everyone is doing? And the first person shared that she felt so relieved. She was so stressed and she's been holding it in for months, and she started crying. Next thing you know, everyone is crying, So, and then we went back to the agenda after that. So he knew enough to, what's important now is not to talk about the task, but really to talk about how people are doing. So yeah, we can do a pulse checks in the meetings, and many different things we can do to tune in to our own emotions and what's happening in the room. So be intentional, be present. And the last one is seek and celebrate feedback. This one I think we're all aware of. Some people tell me the celebrate part, it doesn't quite feel right because sometimes it can hurt. And I think it's up to us to learn how we can really understand that when somebody gives us feedback, they trust us enough to give us the feedback. So in a way, it's something worthy of celebration, and it's a free developmental opportunity. So to ask people who we trust, who want to help us, or maybe people that we don't think like us, and do that. And there's one question I have found useful, and that is, sometimes it's good to just ask, like, can you just give me one tip? So a very quick story, I was speaking at a conference a couple years ago. I did my session, and some guy comes up and he says, wow, Douglas, that was amazing. That was like the best session I've attended, you know, at any conference. He goes, I give you 8 out of 10. So I'm like, 8 out of 10 doesn't sound like so fabulous, right? So I said, oh, great, thank you so much. Can you give me can you give me an idea how to make it a 9 or a 10? And he said, no, it's a 10, it's a 10. So I knew there was something. So I asked him, just please give me one. And he said, okay, I'll give you one. You use Comic Sans fonts. And I hate Comic Sans. And many people around hate Comic Sans. I didn't know this at the time. And I've learned that there's all kinds of death by Comic Sans movements around the world. And so I thought, wow, so great. So I changed all my slides, no sweat to use a different font. And so, but just by asking, please just give me one thing. So I don't know if that's helpful for anyone. I just saw a chat group, somebody say, I don't like Comic Sans too. So there you go. So those are my 3 tips. I hope there's something practical in there. Really be intentional about anything we do. And also be present to what's happening, and really enjoy free developmental opportunities of feedback. Okay, that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Douglas. Thanks for sharing with us your 3 learning points. Be intentional. So for all our audience, I'll invite you to set your intention for this very moment right now.
Well, you're good, Kok Hwa.
And of course, what's important now? What's the win question for all of us? Obviously, is to pay attention to the next author. And I'm so glad that I didn't use Comic Sans font on my slide. Otherwise, I'll be so guilty.
You're much wiser than that. Okay.
And I forgot to add that Douglas is actually one of the pioneer in OD, or organizational development, in Singapore. And he's really a giant in this field. All right. So now we're going to move on to our next author. And she's none other than Chris Ang. Chris is a poet. I believe the only one among us who is a poet. He's the author of Steps, The Journey to Self-Empowerment, Leadership, and The Journey to Self-Empowerment, full stop. All right. She's also a leadership and a personal coach. All right. The reason why I show her URL here is that she's one of the very few authors who has actually do a reading of every single poem in her book. And if you are the type who like to listen rather than read, you can actually head off to her website and you can listen to the poems. Okay. Chris is really a very special introduction for tonight, because she's going to read to us poems. Yep. But beyond that, every single poem of hers, there lie a deeper meaning. And that's why she's going to share with us the 3 learning points as well. Okay, I shall stop here and hand the time over to Chris.
Wow. You're gonna stop me? No, you can't stop me. Everyone, I'm gonna ask you to do this. I'm gonna read you 2 poems, and the way to listen to poems is to close your eyes. So of course I can't check whether your eyes are closed, but the best way to appreciate a poem is to close your eyes. And so this first poem I'm going to read to you is Be Still and Listen. It's on page 4 of my book. Be still and listen. Your heart speaks. Your mind grips. Think of a time you were in that zone where no restrictions you were told, where you were free to roam and shone like gold. Allow yourself to go beyond that which no one has told you how. Just know that you are free to roam to places you have dreamt alone. For who else but you should know what makes your heart sing, your mind blow. So this is the first one, and I'll explain later at the slide. This is the next one. This is called Journey I Own. It's on page 74. So I wrote this on behalf of my daughter. So it's like daughter writing to mom, but I wrote this, all right? So, journey I own. I am one in a trillion, a gem in the making. You will not be comfortable with how I'm behaving, just not in sync in your galaxy. I am an amazing individual. Sometimes I forget to see it too. There's just too many others trying to mold me into a desirable youth. I own my narrative. I have agency. I have what it takes to lead me to my desired sphere. I thank you for your noble intentions. I do not doubt a single bit. You have been through a great deal of hardship and want to spare me those challenging streams. But there are journeys I have to walk alone to truly understand and learn that wisdom is not only for the listener, it works best for those who step into the field. So if you feel rejected, you own your feelings too. You are one of my gurus with great wisdom you introduce. I have to sow my own seeds now and reap my own harvest. I thank you for offering your land and the fruits of your labor. There will be times I access your farmland and other times chart my own trail. But I will always remember you're readily available should I choose to return to the launch pad. There's an array of ways to make a good soup. I'm finding my own concoction, one that I can call my own and hope to share with you. Because I am one in a trillion of trillions with an amazing soul. I'm capable of greatness beyond what you and others can foresee. It's beyond my wildest imagination. Through the journey, I cradle, I own, I grow. Thank you. Now, Kok Hwa, can I trouble you to bring up the slide? Thank you. So I wrote this. I started writing it in 2018, and I'm way past 50 years old. I realized that there's something missing in my life. I'm happy, but I'm not really happy. And so I realized when I reconnected with my passion for poems and I start writing it, and I find that I'm empowering myself. And being a trainer and coach, I like to organize my thoughts. And so this book came up. And so there's 3 key steps into how we can empower ourselves. First, that I read to you, be still and listen, is step in. Step in to connect with your inner voice, your core. What is your core telling you? And my core was telling me I need to empower myself. I need to know what makes me happy, what makes me wake up and, yes, I can't wait to wake up because I'm going to do something that brings me joy. And after knowing it, what should I do? Step 2, I need to step up. I need to step up to let my true self show up to the people that matters to me in my life. Most immediate is my family. My family needs to know. My dear friends needs to know. What is it about me that I want them to know. I feel comfortable for them to know. It is a risk. It is scary. So step up requires courage. Now, after you made yourself known, you need to step out. You need to step out to live, to be alive. And that's why I read Journey I Own, because after saying it, you need to live it. And when you have completed all these 3 steps, you'll feel more alive than just living every day as, as you think it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I really love the way you read your poems. And always remember, during your book launch, you had such a visual way to help all of us remember about step in, step up, and step out. Yeah, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Not going to share with the viewers what you did. I'm not going to ask you to stand up now and show it to us. Don't worry. We are in virtual smart today.
Thank
Welcome. And yeah, I think there are many comments in the chat box that they really love your poems. And as we are going through tonight's program, it suddenly dawned upon me that there are so much common thread that is going through all the books, although it's all written on different genre. Yep, the very fact about stepping in and connecting to our inner core, into our inner self, and then be able to communicate and to step out and be alive. I really love this. All right, thank you, Chris. We're going to move on next to our next author, and he's none other than Andy Yu. Okay, so Andy has written the book Win Big, Lose Small. All right, I don't even love the title. It's really simple and powerful. So Win Big, Lose Small, indeed, he shares 10 simple keys to spot great opportunities, catch the biggest trends, and achieve consistent performance in the stock market. Okay, which is, I think, what many people are looking out for in situation like this. He is an award-winning stockbroker. I even lost count how many years he won the award already. All right, but now he has turned into a licensed portfolio manager as well, helping his clients manage their stock portfolio in a more holistic way. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to stop share and I'll pass the time to Andy to do his reading. Over to you.
Hi. Yeah. Okay, I'm very kanchong on this moment. Okay, so this is also the first time I'm reading to the public. Okay, so I just picked one of the one of the chapter. Okay, to read. Okay, one of the parts of the book to read. Okay, so let me just start now. Okay, so the big idea number 1 is to feel your feelings. The problem with many people is that they don't feel their feelings. Instead, they unconsciously react to their emotions. How do the big players control the market? They don't control your hand or prevent you from executing a trade. They manipulate you through your feelings. When a stock suddenly goes up, you feel excited. That's how they lure you into the stocks. When it suddenly falls, it gives you a feeling that it's too late to sell. Your feelings plays right into the hands of those market manipulators. If you don't take the time to feel your feelings, to be aware of how you feel, you will end up acting just like the majority of the people in the market. Those 90% that are easy to manipulate. However, you use the conscious mind to become aware of your feelings. You will realize that other participants are feeling the same way. You will be able to guess the action they are likely to take in those situations. For example, let's say that one of your stocks is falling sharply. How do you feel? You probably feel bad and worrying that whether selling now is the right move. What if rebound the next day? When a stock falls sharply, we often face the dilemma of whether to cut loss. For me, when I'm in such situation, I will ask myself, am I happy with my position? If the answer is no, I will close off the position. Think about the opposite situation. How would you feel if one of your stocks climb higher and higher? I will feel very happy about it. I'll be excited and feel that I'm getting it right. At the same time, I will feel worried about losing all my profit I had just made. When I get worried, I start thinking about taking profit. This is one of the reasons that many traders sell too fast. They get it right about the stocks. The price goes higher and higher, but they sell too quickly. The higher the stock climbs, the stronger the urge to take profit. In such situation, I once told myself, am I happy with this position? If the answer is yes, I will continue to hold. How about when price falls after you sell? When that happened to me, I feel very happy if I got it right. If a share dropped by 5% after I sell, I feel great. If they fell by 30%, I feel ecstatic. As long as I feel good about the position, being out of it, I will maintain it. I stay out as long as the trend remains down. If one day the stock starts to turn around, I might feel regret that I let it go. If I'm feeling regret, I know that I have to take action. In stock trading, one of the things we have to learn is regret minimization. Knowing how to minimize your regret will give you a better chance at getting into the uptrending stocks and getting out of the downtrending stocks. To minimize my regret, I will buy back the stocks at a higher price or at a smaller position because I just want to get back into the stocks. Taking action also help to overcome my fear of being wrong. And a lot of times people are so afraid of being wrong that they rather not to take any action. I rather to be wrong than have the feelings of regret haunting me all the time. Yep. Okay. So basically, that's one part of the book. Okay. So in this book, I share 10 simple keys of this, like how do we manage this stock trading? Okay. How do we win big and lose small? Yep. Okay. So, okay, you understand? Okay. So basically, when I was writing this book, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. So it took me a long time to to come out with this book. And my first version, Kok Hwa actually told me that people might not understand what you are writing. So what I do, is I think about to rewrite the whole thing. So when I was trying to rewrite the whole book, I was thinking like how can we make it easier? What's the most important thing in stock trading? What's the most important thing that everybody supposed to do? And I came up with these 3 things. Okay, so basically these are the 3 section of the book, which it's all spread out to the 10 simple keys. So basically, in the most important thing about stock investing or stock trading, okay, basically number 1 is called the ability to win big. So basically, I think everybody is like hoping that they get the right stocks. Those people who are buying and selling shares every day, they're actually looking at which is the best, which is the best stocks, and they're trying to get in the best stocks. But a lot of time, most people, they do not have the ability to win big because number 1, when they really get the best stock, they would have sold it with just like 10-20% profit. They would say, let's don't be greedy. 10%, 20% is enough, and and they get out of the best stock. Okay, so in this book, basically, we are talking about we have to go for the best in the entire market. So basically, like what we see over the years, based on statistic, a really good stocks can actually go up like 200% in a year. So the ability to win big is simply catching the right stocks and buying a lot of it along the way up. So that is the number 1 key, the ability to win big. And number 2 is also the ability to lose small. So basically, what is the ability to lose small and why is it important? Is because if you turn 100,000 to 200,000 portfolio, and the next thing what you do is you have a 50% drawdown. So if you have a 50% drawdown, that means you bring 200,000 back to 100,000. So for people who do not know how to minimize losses, the problem is, whatever you do, how you pick stocks, eventually will be meaningless, because everything will go to the ground. So the next thing we talk about risk management, maintain your happiness, and setting your right intention, and all that. Okay, is to build that the ability to minimize risk, and also when it comes to losses, we are able to lose smaller than other people. And the third thing we talk about in this section is how can we stay consistent, because a lot of times a lot of people they buy and sell shares. They thought they know it. Okay, just like me, many years ago, I thought that I already found the secret of how to pick stocks and how to buy stocks. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we need something called a system. So by staying consistent is simply, writing down the rules, okay, the rules that you need to follow. What are the rules that, keeping you in check, and also having a system to tell you how to pick stocks. What stocks are you what is the sequence of picking stocks, and this will make you eventually being a consistent trader. So basically, it's all highlight in this book. The book probably will speak better than me. Okay, so yeah, so that's my book, Win Big Lose Small. Okay, Kok Hwa, yeah, to you.
All right. Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much for condensing such a complex topic into 10 very simple keys for all of us. And again, the message has been repeating about setting your intention and not forgetting about happiness at the end of the day. If the stock market index is today a barometer of your mood, whereby it goes up, you feel happy, it comes down, you feel so sad and depressed, I think you're better off staying away from the market and to avoid sleepless nights. Yeah. So understanding the system and staying consistent is absolutely important. So thank you, Andy. Okay, and wow, so fast. We're moving on to our last author for the evening. All right. And she is none other than Sari Marsden. Sari is the co-author for Fit to Lead, Transforming Your Leadership with the 5 Pillars of Performance. She is a leadership and performance coach, and in ICF terminology, she is a PCC, so that's Professional Certified Coach. She is also a Nike trainer. Okay, Sari, you want to show us what shoes you're wearing now?
No, I'm not wearing any shoes today.
Just kidding. All right. So Sari is the other half of Marcus Marsden, their husband and wife pair who has written this book, Fit to Lead. I always remember that there was once when I was giving a book talk during the International Coaching Week by ICF, and there were a group of coaches who were sitting in front of me listening to me talk. And after that, nobody actually responded and came up to me. About 2 to 3 years later, then this couple turned up and they show up and they say, I remember what you told us that day, and we are now going to write the book Fit to Lead. So wow, it has been such a fruitful and memorable journey, Sari. So over to you.
Thank you. And one of the biggest memory that Marcus and I, my husband, we have with you, Kok Hwa, is when you look at the manuscript and then you said, guys, this is 3 books. You wrote it in one. Yes, this is probably our only book, right? So we're just going to go ahead with it. Okay. So if tonight is magical night, so I'd like you to imagine that you do have nice, great body, the body that you always dreamed of. You know it, right? Whatever it is, whatever your dream, right? And then here's the thing though. I'd like to take you to a bodybuilding stage. Yes, with that great body of yours. And then you stand on that stage with a spotlight on you. You don't have to perform anything. You just need to walk and pose. How hard could it be, right? And here's why bodybuilding stage is fascinating for me, because you don't have to perform any performance or sports performance like tennis, swimming, or dancing. You just need to show up. and you cannot say anything because words are powerless. There, you cannot justify who you are, where you come from, and why you do what you do. So for me, working in both disciplines, leadership and fitness, I feel very fortunate to work and to see how body and leadership is actually not a separate world. So what I'm going to read for you is the chapter 11. It's called Transparent Body. And in part of this book, there's a personal reflection. And I'm going to read the personal reflection about my journey as a fitness physique champion, and what do I do to coach people to start embodying whatever it is that they want to live in their life through the body. So my quest led me to join a fitness physique competition where there are no words, and it is only your walk and posture that communicates with the audience and judges. I watched how some competitors would walk on the stage and create a powerful impact, and how other similarly muscle participants would create a much weaker impact. For some, their beautifully developed body was simply not enough for them to engage powerfully with the audience and judges, because their mental and emotional state pillars were communicating a very different story, as if their new body was still communicating their old thoughts and feelings developed long ago. Being a champion in my fitness physique category, I am often asked to coach athletes to pose and or walk in the way that will engage the judges. A walk, how difficult it can be, right? As it turned out, when you seek to bring the leadership presence into your walk, things are not quite as simple as they seem. So when coaching bodybuilders or fitness athletes about their walk, posture, and pose, my first questions include, what do you want to create with your walk? What values do you want to embody? Why do you do this? Now, these questions raise their eyebrows high, but also lead them to explore their core values. We need to start here talking about what matters to them and what they are emotionally connected to their purpose. So I'm working with them to build their leadership presence. Leadership is about how you show up, by the way, through the body posture and movement. Something as simple as walking has a profound impact on how you set yourself to engage with the people around you. And once they are in touch with their emotional connection to their purpose, their physical body can then communicate freely. And suddenly, they can engage with people at a whole new level. 4 years ago, I coached a squad of domestic helpers from AIDA School in Singapore. Their dream was simple: to dance competitively on stage in a powerful way. And I said to them that I'm a movement coach. I'm not dance coach. So we chose simple movements with a strong emphasis on who they wish to be when they dance. They said to me they want to be a confident, worthy, and strong woman. So when we started, here's what happened. They all danced with this thing that I term looking for coins on the floor. Their eyes looking down on the floor while their body is moving into the music. And they didn't have any confidence to make any physical connection with their audience. It doesn't matter how fancy the movements are
If you are not embodying your personal values, then the quality of your movement will be poor and your ability to engage with the audience will be minimal. Now, this is just as true in the boardroom as it is on the dance floor, as it is on the gym floor before the circuit breaker. So therefore, my coaching focused on who they were willing to be as they moved, rather than on the movement itself. What values were they willing to embody? So eventually, they emerged as the first runner-up in the competition and even appeared in the national news. What made me proud is that although they were not the most technically gifted dancers in the competition, they projected their values as they moved. It was the resulting engagement with the audience and the judges that shone through and created stunning results. No more looking for coins. And as I have begun to work with more and more people in business contexts, I see exactly the same phenomenon here. The physical state pillar, unshackled from, once it's unshackled from its historical context and learned habit, can be the secret weapon that gives people the edge in their ability to engage powerfully with others and ultimately create the results of their dream. This important aspect of personal growth, development, and leadership is absolutely trainable via purposeful, conscious, body-based interventions and practices. So here are the 3 takeaway and learning from Fit to Lead. Number 1, move your body, move your life. I don't have to say anything about the research. Neuroscience research has indicated our choice, whether we want to move our body or don't, results in our capacity to learn. Based on our experience, when our clients move their body and apply that into their leadership capacity, it becomes a magical space for them to grow. Number 2, I'm proud to say that I'm one of those personal trainers who will say to my client, you don't have to exercise. You will exercise when you choose to exercise. But movement is fundamental. You walk, you move. You reach out for your book, you move. And you don't have to be a world-class athlete to be a world-class leader. But if you are willing to level up the game in the leadership development, consider the forgotten body. It has a lot to do with your energy as a leader. The third one, start now, start small. What I notice in my coaching practice and leadership development, some people resist the word now. I don't want to start now. I'm going to wait until it's perfect. Some people resist the word small. They want to start big and they want to be on top of the Mount Everest on day 1. But usually they don't finish what they started. So the key thing here to embrace the sustainable change, whether it's in fitness or leadership or the things that you want to change, is to embrace both. Start now, start small. Thank you.
Thank you, Sari. Thank you for your reminder. Yep, move your body, move your life. Yep, so viewers, if you're with us right now, we can't see you. You can start moving if you like. And in times like this, although we are all trapped at home, exercise is optional, but you definitely can move around, right? From your living room to your kitchen, from your kitchen to your bedroom. Yep, keep moving. I think that's really essential. And of course, start now, start small. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you to our 6 authors. We are now moving into the Q&A segment. So a reminder again, at the bottom of the screen, you will see a button called Q&A. If you open up that window, you can then key in your questions over there. Please do not type into the chat box because we won't be picking questions from the chat box. Okay, So, there's actually a voting system. You can actually cast your vote as well so that we know what are the popular questions. Okay, wow, first question is already here. Guess who is it for? Chris, you probably have seen it, so let me pose the question to everybody. Chris, writing poetry for the first time can be challenging. How do you keep track of your inspiration and time to write? How do you make writing poetry into a fun experience? Over to you, Chris.
Oh. I started writing poetry when I was in my secondary school. And I didn't think too much about it. I love rhymes. I reflect a lot. So that's how I write. And we are always our own harshest judges. And so I send it to two editors to read them, and they tell me where I should change. At the same time, I'm so grateful to my two editors. They never put words change words for me. They just say, "Oh, this is not so clear. How can you make it clearer?" And that's how I do it. So if you're not bound by all the rules of writing poetry, you're free to write whatever that comes from your core. And that's what I did. I wrote whatever that is speaking to me. And those that I read to you are all words that came to me. I hope I answer your questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Yeah, thanks, Clara, for the question. If Chris has not answered your question, you can rephrase it again. Next question is for Douglas. So Douglas, this comes from Prakash.
Okay.
He's asking you, how does one encourage honest feedback, especially in environments where people are not familiar with each other?
Okay, thanks, Prakash. How you doing? So I think there's a few things. So first, can I just say, because I grew up in New York and I've been in Singapore for like 30 years, what always struck me is that there's this impression that, you know, the Western culture is very open and Asian culture is not. And I always felt like it was a false polarity, that I think we could be open and we could be polite and sensitive and sweet. So I think there's a way to set that up. So I think if it's us asking for feedback, that question about what's one thing I can do, we can ask it from our staff, like if you lead people. The other one I sometimes would use is okay, you thought it was okay. What do you think? Is there anyone else here who would have a different impression, do you think? I would really like to hear that. The other one, when I work with groups, I think is a question about when people are not familiar with each other. I often give the people opportunity to ask the question. So if we're in a group, I might say, yeah, can you give me one thing? Or I've been told that I talk too fast. What do you think? So that it gives people control to ask the question, which then makes it easier for other people to give them feedback. Those are some of my quick thoughts. Make the container safe, whether it's for us individually or for the group, where they get to learn from it. Make it clear that it's a learning experience, and they become in control by doing it, by asking it rather than saying, give feedback to a person, and then it's like, it can be quite rough to do that. So I flip it around like that. I don't know, hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you, Douglas. Yep. So I guess the magic is really in how do you create this very safe space for people to give you feedback.
Yeah, and I think we all know that it's a little difficult, and we all know that when we give and receive helpful feedback, it's just transformational, right? Because that's how we keep getting better and better at what we do. Although, Chris,
Exactly.
your poems are already so amazing, so.
Thank you. My workshop participants will know that I'm very insistent and I keep following up, asking them to give me feedback. And next is none other than my recent graduate from So You Want to Be an Author workshop, Sam. Hello, Sam. She asked this question to all of you, so everybody needs to reply, give a response. How did you write consistently? Can you share one tip each? Okay, so whoever is ready, you can go first, and the rest, please don't repeat the earlier point. So go fast.
Okay, so maybe I'll go first. because I don't want anybody to repeat my point. I think it's to I always think that you do up a content page very nicely with chapter 1 to 20, let's say, but you you know you never start from chapter 1 sometimes. So my advice to you is to write something that you are very familiar with, even though they may not be the first chapter. Just write the easiest part first. And if you come to a part that you know that you are stuck, you can't wrap it up, or you can't continue, or you don't have the right words for it, the best way is to put a triple XXX on your Word document, so that when you submit your script, you just can look for all the triple X, and then you will not miss anything important. So that is how you will continuously force yourself to write consistently, is to start from the simplest one, and then when you're stuck, go to the next more difficult one, and then you come back again. All right, so that's my tip.
Okay.
From
So
me.
I'll keep this democratic. Yeah, whoever wish to share. Chris?
Okay, can I?
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll go short and simple. One is consistently moving your body, because there are, it does what work for me. I wrote the idea. I got the idea about coaching, about everything is after I did my dance or run or just get the sweat out, and then sit down like, oh my God, suddenly it's just connecting the dot. And then the second one is I'm proud to have a co-author. So yes, a single author will be good, but also for me, I'm really, really proud of using co-authorship. Like, who can I ask for support to have a different point of view? I think that really helped. That's why my husband is my co-author. Thank you.
Thank you, Sari. Anyone else? Chris?
Yeah. So music moves me. So when I play music, I have stuff that I will write, and you'll be very amazed the kind of music that I listen. It has all kinds of genre, and any kind of music trigger a certain emotion in me. Or if I see a bird, I go to the garden. I'll write about a bird. I'll write about a flower. But the thing is, I get restless. Like Sari, if she don't move, she gets restless. I get restless if I don't write something a day, or maybe I'm too busy today to write. But then tomorrow I need to write something, whether it's very short or very long. So my consistency is in my bones.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And okay, Douglas has something to share.
So really quick. So obviously sometimes you need really units, chunks of work, go off on a retreat and really write. But for me, because I write a lot of articles, and Coco, I started another book, so we can talk. But I find it really useful just to go into the document once a day and add a sentence or two. So just to keep some momentum going, or just say, not even if a sentence, but just to put a point that I want to remember later when I have more time. But there's something about the momentum of that besides the big chunks of time that we often need to do.
Okay, thank you, Douglas. Yep, I'm mindful of the time, so I think I'll move on to the next question. Yeah, there are actually many questions in the Q&A box right now. I'm mindful of the time, so we'll probably have about 2 more questions. So pardon me if your questions are not picked. Let's look at the list. Okay, what advice would you share with someone who wants to write a book but has inertia or doesn't know where to start? So a related question would be, say you have a topic in mind, how do you build enough material to make it into a book?
This is very simple, very simple. Go to attend Kok Hwa's workshop on how to be an author, and it's all done. Serious. That's a genuine answer, it's really not a pitch for Kok Hwa, because it's very real, yeah.
Thank you, Douglas. Any opposing views? For your information, Chris, Joanne, and Andy, they are all past graduates of So You Want to Be an Author workshop. So many of them entered the workshop with no idea or maybe a skeleton idea. but they developed their idea within the workshop, and eventually within a couple of months, they all published their
Yes.
book, and today they are here sharing with you as published authors.
Yeah, so
All right.
amen. Sign up for Kok Hwa's workshop. And others,
Thank you.
and others too.
I need to thing. I took a tip from Sari. When I was attending the class, I start now and I start small.
Nice one. Okay. Next, we have a question from Michelle. Michelle asks, all the authors share their passages with a seemingly similar theme of self-awareness. What do each of you do to develop or inculcate your self-awareness? Anybody? Those who have not responded, anyone? Okay, Chris first.
Yes. Every day I have a pause. And when I pause, I don't look at the phone or laptop or anything. I would just stare out the window, look at plants, and those times actually helps me to remind myself to connect to my inner core and to reflect what's going on.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? How do you develop your own self-awareness?
Is to feel your feelings. So basically, for me, is like I have to be self-aware because in stock trading is basically it's a people to people's game. It's like I'm against another person, I'm against the crowd, and if I want to know how they feel, I have to feel myself first. So basically, I think the self-awareness part is the most important part because if I don't even know myself, I will be like reacting to all the emotion. I will have a lot of dramas in life. I will be reacting to a lot of dramas in life. Yeah. So basically, to have like a right livelihood, okay, basically we have to like have self-awareness and have lesser dramas.
Thank you, Andy. Anyone
For
else?
me, what I'd like to add on that is that, yeah, it's great to have self-awareness, but then what do I need to do with that self-awareness? So for me to put that self-awareness into action that works for me, then I know that I'm aware, not only I'm aware, but I do something about it. Because self-awareness is only self-awareness without putting it into the action, then you lose the power.
Thank you, Sari. If I may add, actually it's about the 3A. So after the self-awareness part, the second A is about acceptance. And finally, after acceptance, then you should move into action. Yeah. Otherwise, like what Sari say, if you don't know the intent of self-awareness, then more likely than not, you will always stay within this realm. And without moving into action, you can't then look back into self-awareness. So that's really my experience as well. Okay. That's 2 questions already. Thank you for all your questions. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to answer all your questions. I'm really mindful of the time. So before we end, I just want to share screen again, a couple of announcements before we end this evening. If any of you are inspired by any of the books and would like to pick them up, the good news is we are offering a 20% discount. The discount code is TalkingBooks20. So if you have a phone now, you should whip it up and scan the QR code that would send you to the store to pick up any of the books here. In fact, this code will be applicable to the entire bookstore. So you can use the discount code. So that's the first announcement. I hope you will support our authors today. Back to Emin's question. Yes, I do run a workshop called So You Want to Be an Author workshop. Batch 13 has just ended last week. Batch 14 is going to start in September. So that's where we take you through the 6P framework of publishing. And each of the P consists of 1 module. Right now it's in a virtual masterclass, and each of them takes about 2 to 3 hours per module over a period of 6 days, spread it over 3 weeks. So that's So You Want to Be an Author workshop. Right now, we have a crisis-friendly price of only $298. Our usual workshop costs $980. So again, you're interested in developing and sharpening your idea, your book idea, and don't know how to do it, whip out your phone again, scan on this, and it will send you directly to the page. And by the way, Andrew is also my co-facilitator. He looks after module 5 and module 6. And the good news is if you can't make it to any of the dates, it's perfectly fine because it's a virtual class. We do record it. And my participants, if they miss the class, they just go back and look at the Zoom recording and they can do it at their own pace. All right, so that's a little announcement on the workshop. Finally, we are from Candid Creation Publishing, and these are the different places that you can reach us. Same thing, some of the questions that were not being answered, you can reach out to the authors directly. If you go back to the webinar registration page, you will find all their LinkedIn URL. Directly reach out to them and ask them your question. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help all of you. Okay. So before we end, I just want to thank all the 6 authors for investing your very, very precious evening with me, with all of us tonight, sharing your knowledge and your experience with all of us and reading passages. Thank you for your courage to read your own book. I don't know if it's for the first time. And also sharing very succinct 3 key learning points to all of us. And of course, tonight can't happen without all the 50 over of you in this room. We tried to do a Facebook Live just now, but there were some technical difficulties. So you're the privileged one to be in this room, really absorbing firsthand from our 6 published authors tonight. Yep. Before we end, can all authors unmute and maybe say something to our audience?
Okay, so continue to work on your brand. As I always say, all of us has a brand, and it is your job to manage it, to build upon it. If not, then someone else will do it for you. That someone else has a name. The name is perception.
Thank you, Andrew. Anyone else has parting words?
I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say that I'm in gratitude, Kok Hwa, to be in this space. And thank you so very much for those of you who have been participated. I can't see you, but I can feel you. And it definitely, I can feel it in my body too. So whatever it is that you are on to, just keep going.
Thank you, Kok Hwa and Andrew, for making this possible. And I'm so thrilled that so many of you signed up to listen to us. And keep writing. Doesn't have to rhyme, just write.
And yeah, thanks again, everyone, and a pleasure to be together and be intentional and enjoy the journey as part of it. Yeah.
Thank you
and
for
for me,
being here.
yeah. Okay, Joanne first, yeah.
No, Andy, you can do.
Okay, so I'm also the same as say thank you, Kok Hwa, for helping me out with the book. Okay, it took like years to really get it out, and yeah, and really I have like people ordering from US, like other countries. So yeah, without this book, probably I wouldn't reach out to the so far, to other places. And I also like bring this everywhere when I travel and when I meet people. And this is just like my name cards. Okay, just like my name cards to give out to people. Yeah. So again, thank you for the workshop from Candid Creation, and thank you, Kok Hwa.
Thank you, Kok Hwa also. And this year is the year that my book is translated to Vietnamese as well. So I just did talk for Vietnam. Without this book, I think it will probably be quite hard for me to get into the Vietnamese market as well. So really thank you for all the hard work, and thank you for being such a wonderful audience. From the panelists, I also learned so much. So thank you for sharing a segment of the book. I've learned so much that I think that I will be able to bring with me for a long time. Thank you.
The discount code applies to our panelists as well to support one another with your books. All right. Okay. Thank you all for a very magical evening. And here I just want to wish all of you a very happy long weekend and Selamat Hari Raya. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Have a blessed
Bye.
weekend.
Enjoy.